Bienvenidos, mi gente. Gloria Estefan here. We are bringing Red Table Talk the Estefans to podcast. Just like our Red Table Talk sisters, we have brought 3 generations together to talk family, relationships, and social issues from the perspective of 3 fabulosas Latinas. Listen to Red Table Talk the Estefans podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Can't get enough football? Then look no further than the GMFB podcast. Join me, Kay Adams, alongside Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, and Kyle Brandt for a daily breakdown of the league's biggest stories.
Between game plan breakdowns and fantasy tips, we've got you covered for all your football needs.
We got recaps, retweets, and reaction to all the wild moments you might have missed on and off the field.
Listen to the Good Morning Football podcast weekdays on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't miss out on the top stories from the best insiders around the NFL. I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league for in-depth analysis and storytelling with a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. Game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth storytelling that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL Inside Report podcast. Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Steve, it's time now for your closing remarks. They've been so on point.
Hey, for my closing remarks today, I choose to keep encouraging people, uplifting people, and enlightening you all to some of the things I've had to learn on my journey. And I'm not claiming to know more than anybody else. I'm just talking to people from a standpoint of just trying to be an encouraging person from my own standpoint, my own viewpoint. You don't have to agree with anything I say. You have the right to your own opinion, your own line of thinking. So this is not a forced thing. This is just, words of encouragement at the end of the show. So when you start in your day and you're thinking about your road to success and happiness, I had a lot of challenges along the way that I've had to learn how to overcome. And I've had to find different methods and learn from more successful people than myself how to get it done. One of the major things that I learned, and this is very difficult for me to do because of the most useless emotion in the human spirit, which is guilt. Guilt serves no one. But because of guilt, I found it hard to implement this that I'm about to share with you. You've heard the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. You've heard association brings on participation. What that simply means is, if you have a goal in mind, an aspiration, somewhere you're trying to get there better, quicker, faster, more peacefully, you have to surround yourself with like-minded people. Now, this is hard to do, and I'm going to tell you why it's hard to do for me. Because I was held to a certain amount of accountability by people who just didn't want to see me leave them. So as I began to change my life, change my direction, leave Cleveland, move up, try to come up, do more, try to become more, try not to be the person that I used to be, they have words to hold you to them. Like, man, you got to keep it real, man. Hey, man, don't forget where you come from. Now, not forgetting where you come from is important, but they're saying it from the fact of what they really mean is keep it real, don't forget where you come from. A lot of those people simply mean don't leave us. And it's not your obligation to take everybody with you. You've got to understand that. Don't get held to the emotion of guilt and keep associating with people who don't mean you well. Now look, that goes to something my father told me a long time ago. He said, son, everybody come with you, can't go with you. Some people are in your life for certain periods of time. And that's just it. You have to move on from them. Some of your friends you just grew apart from. Some of your associates, you just can't keep associating with them all the time. Some of your people, you can meet them at the gym and play ball, but you can't do nothing else with them. That's okay. Stop thinking that because a person labels you their friend, that you now owe them a ride. You don't. Stop thinking like I hurt myself so many years hanging on to people suffering from guilt. What's going to happen to their family? What's going to happen to their ability to get another job? And I've had people use me for years and for years and for years. I finally gotten to the point where I'm done with that. I finally gotten to the point. I started learning it a while back, but at 61, I'm telling you, I'm so through with that. I'm so through with feeling obligated to people who ain't really obligated to me. And don't y'all all have them people in your circle right now? Oh, you so obligated to them, but are they really obligated to you? You always looking out for their best interest, but do they ever look out for your best interest? Association brings on participation. If you hang with a bunch of people that cuss all the time, eventually you're going to be cussing. If you hang with a lot of people who do drugs all the time, every time they get together and you just got to be with them, eventually you're going to be into drugs. It's just a part of it. Association brings on participation. If you somewhere and people playing ping pong every day, you don't think you're going to pick up the paddle one day, at least give it a shot? It's how this works, man. So you owe it to yourself to prune the tree. You owe it to yourself to take inventory. You owe it to yourself to surround yourself with like-minded people, to find people who are going the same direction you're going, who want the same things you want. It's nothing wrong with that. And I'll tell you something else too. It'll sure make your life a little bit smoother. Now, it's not going to make it easier, but it will make it smoother. Wouldn't it be good to have somebody to talk to that wasn't always telling you why it won't work? Y'all can't stand to have an idea and take it to somebody, and the first word out their mouth is why it won't work. So then, when they come up with how it will work, all of a sudden now it's their idea. Man, you know how many times I've been around people like that? Birds of a feather flock together. If you hang with people who don't do nothing, eventually you're going to think it's okay not to do nothing too. Take inventory, prune the tree, separate yourself, and remember, it ain't your job to give nobody a free ride. It is not your job. They will slow your progress down. All right? Those are my closing remarks. Y'all keep that one today. All right?
All right,
y'all have
Steve.
a great weekend, everybody.
All right, For all Steve Harvey contests, no purchase necessary, void where prohibited. Participants must be legal U.S. residents at least 18 years old unless otherwise stated. For complete contest rules, visit SteveHarveyFM.com.
You're listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
Can't get enough football? Then look no further than the GMFB podcast. Join me, Kay Adams, alongside Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, and Kyle Brandt for a daily breakdown of the league's biggest stories.
Between game plan breakdowns and fantasy tips, we've got you covered for all your football needs.
We got recaps, retweets, and reaction to all the wild moments you might have missed on and off the field.
Listen to the Good Morning Football podcast weekdays on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Strawberry Spring, based on a short story by Stephen King.
Is someone there? No, don't! Help!
There was a murder on the campus.
Hello?
Henry, have you heard the news?
Yeah, just now on the radio.
There was a murder on campus. Spring Heel Jack is back.
Produced by Audio Up Media and iHeartRadio. Listen to Strawberry Spring on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know there are thousands of active cults in America today?
Political cults, sex cults, acting class cults, terrorist cults.
To name a few. But do you ever wonder, who are the individuals who get manipulated into them? I'm your host, Liz Iacuzzi.
I'm Tyler Measom. Was I in a Cult is a documentary podcast showcasing the raw, dynamic, and inspiring firsthand stories of individuals who got in.
And most importantly, got out of a cult.
Why are people so obsessed with cults?
Maybe because it could happen to anyone.
And we should know.
Because it happened to us. Listen to Was I in a Cult every Wednesday on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.